Juured. Hi everyone, I'm Solveiga from Latvia. I'm a freelance writer, journalist, usually covering topics related to tourism. In early spring I met Riley in Latvia, and then a month later I was already here in Estonia, traveling together with her around South Estonia and exploring many wineries and other beautiful places, and later also writing some articles based on this trip. And then one day, not long ago, I received a message from her. Hi Solveiga, what do you do on the 30th of September? And well, what do you know, here I am. At first I wondered what could I speak about at the tourism conference because, you know, I'm a writer, I'm not a tourism expert. And Riley said, be honest and share what has caught your eye while traveling in Estonia. And that's exactly what I'm planning to do today. Please keep in mind that this whole presentation is based on my own personal experiences and thoughts. I'm not using any official statistics as the previous speaker, so other Latvians might see things a bit differently, but I still hope that my perspective is a bit useful for you. So regarding my personal experiences, I just wanted to give a short overview of my relationship with Estonia. So since childhood, Estonia has always been a very popular destination for my family trips, mostly in summers. Later I also started to visit Estonia solo or with my friends, and now it's even kind of a tradition to go to Tallinn at least once per year just to see what's new, enjoy some great art exhibitions, concerts, just simply to stroll around the town and just feel like being abroad. Also, several years ago, I graduated from a master's program at the University of Tartu, so I've spent some time living in that town as well. And generally, I can say that I'm always happy to be back in Estonia, visit the places I love, and also discover new ones. And to share my insights and inspire others for visiting Estonia, I have written several articles based on my own experiences about Tuscany vibes and wineries in South Estonia, rural tourism businesses, beach town Pärnu, island hopping guide, articles about Tallinn, Tartu, Naissaare, and also hiking the coastal trail. So where to go in Estonia? When I look back at my own trips and also the stories my friends tell over the coffee, it feels like most Latvians head to the same places: Tallinn, Tartu, Pärnu, sometimes maybe Viljandi, Haapsalu, Rakvere, and of course islands Saaremaa, Hiiumaa and Kihnu. By these places, because they are the ones we know by name, we can picture clearly, and they are also kind of like the greatest hits of Estonia for us. They are well marketed, your friends have been there, your colleagues have been there, so you can keep hearing these stories about these places again and again. And they also come usually with these ready-made new things to do, like museums, cultural sites, spas, beaches, events, natural wonders. But the rest of the country, for most Latvians, it's still a blank page, but not because we don't want to explore, but because we don't know where else to go and why. And unless a local Estonian whispers, "Psst, go there," it's harder to discover small villages or nature walks and hidden gems. So I think there's really a lot of space for rural tourism and its marketing. Maybe you need to come up with some new thematical routes, such as Onion route along Lake Peipsi, and also maybe some ready-made and widely distributed weekend itineraries could inspire Latvians and make it also easier to explore much more of Estonia's countryside, not just the towns and the islands. And for this goal, travel articles and travel blogs can play an important role as well. For example, a few days ago, I received a message from a lady who follows my travel blog, and she said that she went to Pärnu based on my article, which is basically one day in Pärnu. And so she could just follow my steps and repeat my day, and that's exactly what she did. And she was really happy about all the places she discovered in this way and how easy it was for her to visit Pärnu. So you see, also travel writers and bloggers can help to make life of travelers easier and promote destinations, just saying. What makes Estonia unique for Latvians? Although we live so close to each other, there are still many things that make Estonia unique and special to Latvians. And when we travel, unique and special is exactly what we are looking for, right? So the first thing, of course, islands. Like, you have more than 2,000, while we have none. Not even the smallest pile of rocks in the sea, not even Ruhnu. So we can't help it. It makes us very excited to visit Estonian islands. It's almost exotic for us. Jokes aside, but I really do think the islands are special. They have their own distinctive flora: juniper, sea buckthorn, wild herbs, rocky beaches, lighthouses, their own culture and rhythm of life. And there's this very, very special atmosphere, calm, a little melancholic, with some kind of longing for unknown horizons. It's beautiful, it's cinematic. And if Latvians could bottle that island feeling and take it home, we would, at least I would. And as I already mentioned, most Latvians go to Saaremaa and Hiiumaa. They are the biggest, the best known, like the classical ones. But they are also a bit more complicated to get around because you need either a car or a bike. And if you don't own one, then you have to deal with rental companies, and in the end, the whole process might be a bit too complicated for your vacation. But there are several small islands easily reachable from Tallinn, for example, Prangli and Naisaare. But I feel that most Latvians don't even know these islands exist. I also discovered them only by accident when I was searching for easily accessible islands where you can just hop on a ferry, hop off, go hiking, maybe go camping. And so we ended up on Naisaare, which was a really big surprise, countless underground bunkers where we could wander around for hours and hours. And it really felt that we had found kind of a secret level of Estonia. But there's the question, why does almost nobody in Latvia know about these islands? They are perfect for hiking, easily accessible, but nobody talks about them. So I guess a marketing campaign is really needed here. When I was working on an article about island hopping, I realized how confusing the ferry system is. Before I could write anything useful, I spent plenty of time researching the routes and even ended up drawing my own map of ferries. Otherwise, it was impossible to understand how to get from one place to another one. And you know, if a travel writer has to draw a map, it's complicated for others. So I think it would be really amazing for travelers if there was a clear map with all the connections visible, which ferry from where to which island on which days, and also maybe a list of all those 2,000 islands, which one of those are actually accessible for travelers. So with that kind of clarity, Latvians could hop from island to island like a seabird. Staying on the seaside theme, I have to mention another thing that feels very special to Latvians in Estonia: your rocky coastline and also limestone cliffs. We are spoiled with our endless white sand beaches in Latvia. They are beautiful, yes, but they feel like holidays and laziness and just like sunbathing, eating ice cream. But when we cross the border and hit your rocky beaches, suddenly it feels like the adventure mode on. Also, you have a lot of seals, which we do not. So seal watching could be better promoted for Latvians as well. Like, who doesn't love seals? Maybe fishermen, but tourists do love them. So, and in Latvia, you have to be really lucky to see some of them chilling on the shore. But here, I think, yeah, it really should be promoted more. It's also really great to have the coastal trail, which provides trail marks, informational posters, and website with the services all along the way. In Latvia, maybe it doesn't even make much sense to have this trail, but in Estonia, with your cliffs, it's really essential to have trail marks that help to navigate yourself. A few years ago, I hiked from Paldiski to Rannameise, and it was wonderful. And like the islands, it's a bit gray, a bit mystical, and absolutely amazing. And speaking about gray, limestone and Rumu quarry. This place is super popular for Latvians. We simply don't have anything like this. On one hand, you can stand on this hill and feel like you are in the mountains taking impressive photos. And on the other hand, you have this almost Mediterranean vibe with turquoise blue water. And if you rent a kayak, you can just float above underwater structures and trees, and it's like Estonia's secret underwater world. And after the seaside and islands, let's move inland to South Estonia. Who knew this region is so hilly? We Latvians have this stereotype of Estonia being completely flat, like forests, bogs, and endless horizon that maybe never changes. And sure, everyone also knows that Latvia is flat, but we know our hilly spots. And so this spring, thanks to Riley, I learned that South Estonia is also full of rolling hills, curvy roads zigzagging through valleys and landscapes that make you think, wait, am I still in the Baltics? And with all the vineyards and flowers in bloom, it really felt like a mini Tuscany. I even gave my article a title, Tuscany Vibes in Estonia. And of course, someone on Facebook commented, there's only one Tuscany in Italy. Well, true, but while he was sitting and complaining, other people are just out there enjoying the view and drinking Estonian wine, so you choose. And maybe that also could be a way for marketing South Estonia for Latvians. Like, why torture yourself under hot Italian sun if you can come to Estonia and also enjoy wine and cycle among these rolling hills of Estonia. One of the things that instantly catches my Latvian eye in rural Estonia is the use of colors and stripes on the buildings. Like in Latvia, our countryside is quite boring, gray and brown, so this really catches my eye. These like striped facades, painted windows and walls. It feels joyful. It's almost like for folk art or fairy tales living their own life on the buildings. And I was thinking that it could maybe even become like an Instagram route, like for example, an online map of the most colorful rural spots where people could go and take beautiful and fun photos. And these sites usually are already like small businesses, cafes, workshops, guest houses and farms. So such a thematical route could help to promote these businesses. And imagine a Latvian tourist following a stripe and color Instagram trail and discovering tiny crafts shop or a cheese farm they would never found otherwise. And so this kind of route could be great marketing for both region and also local businesses. Generally, meeting all the small producers, whether it's an artist, a winemaker, or a beekeeper, is what turns an ordinary journey into an unforgettable one. And yes, of course, we also have artists and winemakers and beekeepers in Latvia, but each of them has their own story, and this is what exactly makes each of them special. And it's also especially exciting for Latvians if those producers represent a specific region or traditions. Like, for example, a few days ago, we concluded our hike in a family restaurant at Saitumā, and it was a really, really unique experience seeing this part of Estonian culture and local business that represents it. It's like collecting little chapters of a book while you travel. But the important thing is that the story should be in a language, should be told in a language accessible to travelers. Of course, we don't expect Estonians to learn Latvian, but English is a must, because sometimes the website is beautifully translated into English, but when you arrive at the place, nobody speaks English, or maybe the other way around, that the website is only in Estonian, but actually people do speak English, but travelers get confused by the website and maybe they don't even go to the place. And I think for travelers, the human connection is the best souvenir. Like when you can chat with the craftsman, hear the story of how the honey is made or why the pattern looks exactly the way it does. It sticks in your memory and you later tell your stories to friends back home, and that's also kind of a free marketing. So do make it easy for travelers to find and also understand you. Yeah, food is also an important part of traveling. And I think for most Latvians, there's this mystery around the question, what do Estonians eat? Of course, I'm not talking about daily meals, but about Estonian traditional cuisine. And I'm 90% sure if you would ask any Latvian, hey, do you know any traditional Latvian dishes, Estonian dishes? They would say kama. Then maybe they would mention some Kalva chocolate, which is nothing traditional, it's a brand. Then maybe Vanatallin, again, nothing traditional. And then maybe we could also argue which country has better black bread, Latvia or Estonia, but that's basically all we know about Estonian food. And I also even asked a guy who runs a small tourism company and used to work as a tour leader between like Vilnius, Riga and Tallinn, and even he couldn't tell me anything else about Estonian food besides kama. So kama is really well known among Latvians, and I personally love it, and I'm also happy to see all the creative ways how you use it, like chocolate with kama, that's so cool. But what else is in Estonian traditional cuisine? And food is such an important part of travel experience. It really seems that Latvians are missing out on this part of Estonian culture simply because we have no idea what's traditional here and what we should try. Sure, we can enjoy a nice meal in a restaurant in Estonia, join some open yard cafe days, but there's still this question lingering in there, what is traditional Estonian cuisine? And I really believe this is a very important question for travelers that needs an answer. I don't know if it should be a marketing campaign, for example, like Vilnius did it with a pink soup or something else, but I do think Latvians would love to know what they should try when in Estonia when it comes to food and traditional cuisine. And to finish on a positive note, did you know that Munamägi is a special place for Latvians? And it's not because it's the highest peak in the Baltics and we are jealous that you have all the islands and also the highest peak, but because of a famous line from a classic Latvian movie from the 80s. The movie is called Limuzīns Jāņu nakts krāsā, that can be translated as a limousine in a color of Midsummer's Eve. And in this movie, a young girl asks the guy, "Can you bring me to Munamägi?" And this movie and the quote is well known almost by every Latvian. And for us, Munamägi is not just the highest hill in Estonia and the Baltics, but it's also kind of a romantic dream destination and a little summertime adventure. So why not to create a little reference to this film at the Munamägi site, maybe a sign or a photo spot or something else. But if not, it's also fun because Latvians will keep coming there anyway. And in general, I think that if Estonia continues to combine its beautiful nature with local traditions, small countryside businesses and experiences, Latvians and many others will keep visiting Estonia, and you live in a truly wonderful land with rich culture, and you should be really proud of it. Traveling around Estonia for Latvians feels like both being in a land that you kind of understand, yet it's like going on an exciting trip abroad. So thank you for letting me share my Latvian's perspective on your country and its countryside. I hope it gave you a few ideas, maybe a smile or two, and yeah, this is a small language joke with a rural topic. Aitäh!